Leeds United are reportedly set for a brand new transfer battle, or are they? This is a potential signing of a centre forward, and you've got multiple different sources saying multiple different things. And I think it reveals a sort of underlying problem in Leeds United right now and the way that we seem to be viewing various transfer bits and bobs. So, with that in mind, we're going to have a little bit of a talk about the potential signing of Willem Goebbels. Who's reporting that it's happening, who's reporting that it isn't happening, and ultimately why this sort of reveals a weird feeling behind the scenes at Leeds United. So first off, this has been reported as potentially on by Sky Sports' Lyle Thomas, who is usually a fairly reliable source. However, it has been directly disputed by Isaac Johnson. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on. He worked for Leeds Live and is a reasonably good source as well. Now, before we get into the more detailed argumenty bit of things, we need to talk about who Willem Goebbels is. And he is currently playing at St. Gallen, the same side that we signed Isaac Schmidt from. And as far as I can tell, he's a pretty damn effective striker. He's just 23 years of age, and he is fairly physical. He's someone that manages to put himself around a bit. He's played 13 matches this season, scored 6 goals, 2 assists, genuinely pretty decent returns. Now, what exactly a move would look like is a pretty big question for any Leeds fan, as always, but as far as we can tell, is looking likely to be a loan move. He has started 11 matches this season, but he's gotten just over 50% of available minutes. He's someone that tends to be subbed off, had an injury relatively recently, didn't seem to be a too bad one, kept him out for like 2 weeks. And it's not just us that seem to be interested, there is also reported interest from West Bromwich Albion and Norwich City, which, when you're comparing sides to have a shared interest with, West Brom and Norwich, not too bad. It could be a Plymouth and an Oxford. Like, these are two sides that will be looking at good players, especially when you consider the players that Norwich have brought in recent years, Gabriel Sara and the like. You have to say that they've got pretty damn good scouts. Us having a similar target, not a bad sign in the slightest. There is a question around whether or not he is of the level we need at the minute, and this is where the big sort of conversation happens. Because a follow-up tweet from Lyle Thomas, not Lyle Thomas, from Isaac Johnson. I'm going to have to find at the moment because I replied to it and I didn't bring this up in advance, but we'll go through it. He said not only no truth in reports linking Leeds with loan interest in St. Gallen striker Willem Goebbels, but he said this hardly needed saying, really. Just 16 goals in 62 Swiss League games is absolutely not what Leeds are staying awake for this month. Leeds are not a rescue club for opportunists. This feels like a sort of harsh view on the guy, because looking through what he's done so far this season, yeah, he missed a couple of games through injury in December, but he scored 6 in 13, having started 11 of those matches. And he is an incredibly accurate shooter, 50% shot accuracy. That's not bad in the slightest. And we seem to be overly critical of divisions that we don't fully understand. So in this case, he's in the Swiss League, where Isaac Schmidt was playing last season, at the exact same club that Isaac Schmidt was playing at this season, also playing European Conference League football. And yet you've got people saying that we need to be starting Schmidt, but no chance in hell should we be considering signing Isaac Johnson. It's some weird sort of cyclical thinking that gets me a little bit confused. Like, I had a look through the numbers specifically because there was the mention of just 16 goals in 62 Swiss League games. Not only is he very young, like, he's 23 years old, so he's still developing, which means that we're currently at the place where he scores a goal every other game. But you need to consider that he's not played every single minute of those 62 Swiss League games. That's like saying Isaac Schmidt isn't a very good attacking threat. He's not gotten a goal or assist yet. If he hadn't, I can't quite remember. But at the same time, he's not had many minutes because he's come on as a sub. Like, I've worked it out, and it's something along the lines of he's had 27 goal involvements, goals and assists combined, in 35 full 90s in the Swiss League, which is a pretty damn good return. That's one almost every 90 minutes. And I feel like we're jumping into what needs to be a wider conversation that we have with ourselves, and we need to start being honest about what it is Leeds are looking for and what Leeds are likely to get. And something that I feel like we overly focus on is reputation rather than reality. So the number of people that look at the fact that Burnley have signed Ashley Barnes and gone, he might be old, but he could score them the few goals that get them over the line. Yeah, sure, he could. But at the same time, why can't this young up-and-coming player do exactly the same thing? he's been fairly consistently playing, not only being picked in the Europa Conference League, but playing very consistently in Switzerland. But we're saying that Ashley Barnes, who isn't playing much at all and isn't scoring much at all, is a potentially better option. This is where I think our over knowledge of English football comes to bite us a little bit, comes to hit back, because you're looking a little bit too hard at the players that you already know, at the players that you already understand, and you're going, they can do a job, without thinking beyond that. Because the Swiss League is not that much of a step in quality from the Championship. And if we're consistently applying these general rules, it will only hurt us because we'll cut ourselves off a lot of quality footballers just because we say, nah, it's not a very good league, or you're making these generalizations. And I just think that's a bad idea, because quality is quality at the end of the day, regardless of the name. If you are a good footballer and you can contribute to Leeds United going up, fantastic. If I talked to you right now and said, there's someone in the Qatari first division who might potentially be looking for a move on a free, he's a number 10, but he's also 30-something, you would immediately say, no, he's crap. I've just described Pablo Hernandez to you. And if you look at Leeds United players in recent years and the ones that we all know and love, Willy Gnonto, we got from the Swiss League. Somerville and Strauch, we got from the youth academies of Dutch sides. Autanaka, second division of Germany. Alioski, I believe, was also signed from the Swiss League. Klitsch, we signed from Belgium. And Pablo, we signed from a side in Qatar because his contract expired and he wanted to play a bit more actual football before he stopped. Every single one of those players were in a position where they don't already have a massive existing reputation, including like Tanaka. The Championship is a better division than the German second division, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen of it. And we signed him, and he's a huge part of this promotion push. And if you offered someone right now, let's sign someone that is the equivalent of Autanaka, you would bite their hand off. But because someone like Willem Goebbels is still an unknown, we immediately say, no, that's not going to be worth our while, let's not do it. I think what we're afraid of doing at Leeds is taking that risk that will get us that player that we need. We're a little bit afraid of, can he do it in the Championship, though? And that's where you immediately put up this extra layer that stops you from getting that little bit of quality in, because there are a hell of a lot of quality footballers. And if we're going to say just 16 goals in 62 Swiss League games, you cut a hell of a lot of nuance out. And it's not being a case of being a rescue club for opportunists. It's a case of using your scouting, seeing where there's some talent, and acting on that. We're all backing Emi Buendia and saying if this happens, it'd be absolutely fantastic. And I don't disagree with that. But we need to recognize that if we were to find someone with the exact same quality in the Polish First Division, all of our responses would be, plays in Poland, these are his numbers, not quite good enough for us. And the sooner we get that out of our heads, the sooner we will sign those quality players, and the sooner we will back them as a fan base. And the sooner we'll be in a better place mentally as well, because it feels like we're a bit too good at jumping on the things are bad train rather than making things good and being a bit more optimistic. But anyway, that's all what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you enjoyed it as well. It's a bit of a rambly one, but it's just something that crossed my mind and I thought was worthy of talking about. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Toodaloo.